it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kind of patient, cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the Crypto Crow. It is about 12:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I read an article. I wasn't honestly planning on doing a video today, but I read this article and I'm like, wow, those sons of bitches. Like, I don't even know what else to say about it. Bitcoin, look at Bitcoin first. So, typically, one of the things that I tell everybody when you're trading Bitcoin or you're looking at charts and things, one of the easiest indicators to use to kind of dictate your potential buy and sell is this EMA crossover. When this crossover happens downward, typically when the bigger the spread, the longer it takes for that golden cross, if you will, or whatever, or I don't even know what you call the bad version of it, but basically that's typically when you sell. And then when it crosses up, that's when you buy. Now, it's been so long. So the 34 is the one at the bottom. I know this stuff, but I'm still waking up. The 13 is the one that's going to be doing. Basically, you're watching the 13 cross up and down over the 34 is basically what's happening. I don't even know what this is doing or what happened. It looks like I might have. I don't know what that is. Well, anyway. So anyway, when the 13 crosses down over the 34, that's basically a sell. So you could have potentially called the sell right here on this wick, and you would have sold, and then the price would have wicked up and you would have freaked out and you might have bought back in and then it would have dumped again. But that's really not what you're looking for, because this didn't cross back up yet and it still hasn't. And we had a nice big pump here, which is all fine and dandy. And that looks really, really good. But as you can see, this is where the 13 crossed up over the 34 and started establishing its spread, and it continued to spread the further the price action went. Okay, and so now it's saying to sell. Well, we haven't seen that in quite a while. We haven't seen those EMAs cross down for quite a while, and the last time it happened, so it happened here, and it's hard to tell, but it looks like it happened here. So it crossed down. So we, from the last cross down we had price range. I know this video isn't labeled Bitcoin anything, but that's okay. I know people are curious. So if we did this and then we hit this, let's just say that the lowest we got was a 14% dip in the price. But from the time that this corrects, that's basically a 9% trade. From the time it crossed down to the time it crossed back up. So if you sold here and then bought back when it crossed back up, that would have been a 9% trade. And then from there, where we at? Is this it? So if you bought back in here, and then let it ride until it crossed back over, that's another 18% trade. So that's strictly just the 13 and 34 EMA. And that's something that I've talked about since way back. It's in my Udemy courses, you know what I mean, where I talk about this. And it's just a very easy, very simple indicator that you can use. Now, it's delayed. It's not predictive. So, because it's not predictive, it's not going to tell you what's happening in the future. It's really kind of your job to gauge that based off of what's happening. You know, there's a lot of, a lot of these indicators are basically saying the same thing right now, and that, this is a sell. Like, we're in a sell mode, and that the price is likely going to go down from here. Now, of course, you're getting all this talk about, well, we could dip back down into the 8,000s range. This is the one thing, and I've been saying this from the get-go. What I see all the time when I see these big wig, I'm super shark, I'm super smart, I know TA, I've been doing it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, yada, 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 is that they only know what the whales allow them to know. And that, I mean, these guys can dictate price action, and they can use their charts and all their indicators and whatever the hell tools they're using to kind of get an understanding as to where the market is and where it's going to potentially go. But that only matters until the whales start taking action. When the whales are making the market move, you can't predict that. And the thing of it is that you almost have to get rid of all of those big whale moves to get accurate TA. Like, if there was an indicator that said, okay, we're going to get rid of any price action associated with the whales. See, but then there's correlation, because the whales do things, and then that's perceived by the public as, something other than it is. If the whale starts buying in and the price starts going up with really big candles, the public's thinking, oh my gosh, they were taking off. And so then they buy in and they FOMO, and then the whales dump on them, and it's this game. But really, it's the whales playing against each other, and the rest of the market's just trying to play catch up and understand what's happening. There is no sense of what's happening right now, folks. I know that a lot of these guys want to pretend to be like, Socrates or Nostradamus or whatever, but I listen to a lot of these guys just to kind of learn the way they think. I'm not really watching a lot of these guys because I expect them to be accurate in anything they're saying. And while they may be right a lot of times, and that's not to say that these guys don't know what they're talking about either, because I'm not saying that. Even guys that I'm kind of annoyed by are very good. Like, they know what they're saying, and they know what they're seeing. They know what they're doing. What I don't see is them taking into account the whale action. And that's what's important to me, because the whales are the ones that dictate the market right now. When the volume is as low as it is, the liquidity is as low as it is, and everything else, that's when the whales take over. That's when they just dictate what they want to happen. What I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to try and figure out whale patterns. And I've never sat down and done this, because I don't know if there is a method to their madness. If they look at specific signals in the market and that's when they make their moves, if there's any way to kind of predict potential whale activity, that's where you're going to make all your money. If you can figure out like an algorithm, or if you can figure out what exactly is happening in the market to dictate what the whales are going to do, that's when you're going to make your money. It's not going to be about the retail trading right now, because that just doesn't really, that's not where the money is. That's not where the trades are. It's about understanding the whale mentality and what they're looking at, what they're looking for. And that's what I'm really big on. I've always kind of been that way. Even in sales, the better you can understand somebody's mentality, their train of thought, kind of like, in sales, we used to have this, they still have it. It's called the DISC chart, where, I'm a very high D. So if you look up DISC, a high D is basically like, very aggressive, skip the bullshit, let's get things done. I'm going to see progress. I'm not here to waste time. I'm not here to screw around. You know what I mean? You have like an S, an I, a C, basically. So, and some people are very logical thinkers. They're very much, I want to see the numbers, and I want to understand how things are calculated and so forth. Then you have like the more creative thinkers, and, you have the results driven. I mean, it's basically understanding the personality traits of people. And that's always been important to me. Now, I have a whale that I've been talking to He's a Bitcoin billionaire, but he's not a very public figure. And he was an introduction to me from somebody else. The guy's wicked smart. He's out of New York, and he's an older gentleman. He's wicked smart, and he's very into politics and things like that. But he bought Bitcoin very early on, and I'm probably gonna. He travels a lot, but I'm probably gonna have him on the channel. And he's not necessarily a trader. He's somebody that bought in a long time ago, and he's basically held through all the shit. And Bitcoin's done exceedingly well, and I'm sure he sold some of his holdings, but he's a very big Bitcoin billionaire. And I want to have him on just to kind of understand his mindset. Even to understand the mindset of somebody to buy into something like Bitcoin back then. Let's face it, the majority of us that are in cryptocurrency right now, we had an opportunity. We were exposed to Bitcoin years and years ago, and we just didn't. I heard about Bitcoin in 2013, and to this day, I'm still kicking my own ass that I didn't have the foresight to look into it, or to at least try to better understand it. It just sounded like something that was silly at the time. But I'm in now. I'm in now. And, will we see a pullback into the 8,000 range? Nobody knows. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care how good they are at reading charts. Nobody knows what's going to happen from here. We might just accumulate for a while here. So far, anytime I've just thrown something out on a whim, I'm not trading on it. So, I was like, oh, this is probably a bull trap. Sure enough, it was. I look at the market in the given situation, and I kind of get a little gut instinct on what I think is happening. But I don't trust myself enough. And it's not even so much that I don't trust myself at this point. I think a part of my problem is that I'm always learning new TA techniques and learning new indicators, and I'm always exploring different things. But the reality is it doesn't matter how much I learn or how much I know or how capable I am of these charts. It just doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter right now in the market that we're in, given the way the bulls are. I will let everybody know, Crow's Nest X, I'm still waiting on this final message, but I will be launching a private beta for this week. Very, very likely. We're going to start getting the show on the road with this Crow's Nest X. And I'm insanely nervous, but I'm also insanely excited because it's about damn time. We've been working on this from a legal perspective for over a year, and it's time. And I'm like, I hope it does well. I hope everybody adopts it and uses it, and once a lot of this stuff starts kicking off, man, we'll see how the STO goes. My hope is that I'm able to open an office here in town, because in that office I'm going to have a nice studio that I'm going to build a nice studio, and I'm going to have all kinds of really kick-ass content on this channel. And a lot of it obviously is going to be in promotion of Crow's Nest X as kind of a sponsor for that content, obviously, being we're going to be at the Crow's Nest X studio, and it's going to be cool. But I want to have some legit people, and I really want to change the way my channel is. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't like my channel much anymore. I don't like just kind of coming on rambling and talking about stuff. I really feel like I'm not educating the way I want to. And a lot of that is because I've been putting so much effort into other things. And I want to really teach people. And I want to hire somebody specifically to do research, to really help me with a lot of the things that I want to be able to do and present and teach people on my channel, but I just do not have the time for right now. There's so many things that I want to do. So, hopefully that's it's all coming. And 2020 could be an absolutely insane year for me and all of us. And so I want to make sure that I'm steering people in the right direction, and that I'm teaching people new things that are actually going to be helpful in the new market. And so we'll see. But when I see stuff like this, I just want to, I'll tell you right now, I didn't buy ChainLink during all that bullshit hype. I didn't buy into it. Everybody was pumping it, talking about it. And I'm like, I'm not touching this. I'm not buying any new altcoins in this market the way it is. And there are a lot of reasons for this. And I hope a lot of people do watch this video because I really think that the message is going to be very clear. But first, I'll read this. Some $600 million worth of paper value Link tokens have vanished amid what appears to be continuous selling by the Chainlink team. The 2017 ICO'd Chainlink token, which back then raised some $32 million, has a very skewed distribution where the team seems to have kept some 650 million links, with just 350 million currently circulating out of a total of 1 billion. What appears to be a marketing blitz began earlier this year with 4chan's biz becoming almost unreadable amidst all the link spam. A 10x rise in weeks made us wonder whether there's something here. So, leading to our surface review of this project on July 3rd. I'm financially ruined, someone commented in that article 10 days after it was published. How is this legal? Asked someone else. I got a comment for this. On July 6th, the Chainlink team published a statement that to anyone with a brain basically said something like, this has gone up enough now, dump. And then they give, or in their words, we do sincerely appreciate our community's continued support and understanding as we expand the number of people working on Chainlink, and we will of course do our best to ensure that our expansion plans are accomplished responsibly, carefully managing the company's resources, capital, and link. All right, I'm going to stop this right here and I'm going to say this. To me, this is my personal opinion, if this company truly believed in the value of their project and the value of their token, why would they sell so much at an altcoin in an altcoin drought? Like, why would they sell so much of their coin or their token when the market, the altcoin market is at record bottoms? When, you know, within 3 months, 6 months, the entire alt market, the altcoin market could look drastically different. We could get sick if Bitcoin decides to hit 20 grand over the, you know, sometime this year, which a lot of us are thinking it likely will, and then higher. I mean, come November, come Chainwise, I'm hoping that we get a very similar situation to what we had in 2017. And that being, you know, Bitcoin pumps, you know, we could very easily see a significant pump in Bitcoin over the next several months. We could very easily see, you know, a new all-time high. And then we can start seeing some of that overflow go into the altcoin market. And come November, my hope is, you know, when we launch Chainwise, the Chainwise convention in Cincinnati, the altcoin market is starting to rally, and that'll start getting more and more people excited. And then hopefully people will start taking notice of Chainwise, and they'll come to Chainwise, get educated, and they'll better understand what to do in that new market. But if Chainlink truly believed that their project was going to continue to do well into the new market, why would they dump so much of their token now? That to me is a huge red flag. Just high, you don't need 30 million more dollars. I mean, you figure 2 years ago they got 32 million. And now, 2 years later, at the low of the altcoin market, they're pumping their token so that they can then dump it to make another $30 million. That's 60 million bucks. How many developers are they hiring? Because typically, you know, these developers aren't making $400,000 or $500,000 a year apiece. And I doubt they're hiring 40 or 50 of them to begin with. Where's the money going? Where's the money going, and why are you dumping now? And the other side of this is, this guy, how is this legal? Well, so there's this is ultimately going to depend on the state of the token. And a couple of questions. Did Chainlink usher in this pump of their token through a marketing campaign that they launched just to dump the token? Because if they did, and Chainlink is considered by the SEC as security, that is illegal. If it is considered as a utility token, They didn't do anything. And that's basically the nature of the crypto space, or security versus utility. If their token is classified, you cannot legally publicly pump a security so that you have improved the market enough that it enables you to sell and dump on investors' heads. That's illegal. And I don't know where Chainlink is based. Maybe we should find out. I'm guessing if they're pulling this kind of shit, they're not in the US. But all the more reason why I'll never touch Chainlink, ever. I don't give a shit how much it's worth. I don't care if they cure cancer. I'm never touching this project. This is the kind of shit that caused me to sell Siren Labs a long time ago. When I'm reading articles that they're buying islands and yachts and all kinds of stuff with their money. And I'm thinking to myself, you actually had a legitimate project and you ruined it because they basically cashed out and they basically dumped and they sold. They made so much money at their ICO and they made so much cash, and then they just started squandering it on like islands and big parties and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I am out. You guys are tools. I don't know how they even... I even had a guy come to me recently like, hey man, I've got one of these Siren Labs phones. It's new in the box. I just want to sell it. And I'm like, no thanks. I have no interest in that Siren Labs phone. So they were basically telling the public they will begin selling some of their huge holdings ostensibly to hire more people like technical documentation writer, despite having raised $32 million less than 2 years prior. Chainlink dump in August of 2019, 700K. Look at this. The above chart has been shared on social media, so we haven't quite verified it, but we had a look. According to Etherscan data, there have been 14 chunks of 700,000 link selling for a total of $9.8 million links so far, or an estimated $30 million. For some 40 days, Chainlink seems to have been selling by going through a small chain of addresses to end on Binance this huge amount of funds. In addition, there is something extremely interesting because we have never seen this before, or at least not on a Binance chart. Chainlink against the US dollar. A new crow is born in Zal, Usri. That last big green candle is the 29th of June. Then we have this kind of proportional wick. Price oscillates wildly, but kind of settles on what presumably is the real activity. This was happening before the big green candle as well, and it doesn't look natural. After the green candle, it sort of looks ridiculous. Presumably the aim there is to foment FOMO or hope. Something like, oh look, it's going up for maybe a minute. This is just craziness. Such trading volumes are now at just $70 million, while the market cap is at about $850 million. Meanwhile, there may have been some shenanigans here, with the project itself called by some as Jason Parser. That being, it's just a way to call to an API or have an API read from a smart contract, with the ostensible innovation here being that you can go through many nodes and servers that do that parsing for you, instead of you just connecting yourself to the many or the one API as you want. The project doesn't quite address the veracity of API's data, the entered data. It just focuses on ensuring that the data does in fact come from an API, and that data has not been changed, so you can be sure it's whatever the API says. The problem is obviously whether the API itself has the correct data, with API here being basically people entering information and so broadcasting them through the application programming interface. So Chainlink, from what we gathered anyway, appears to be mainly kind of a template, or middleware as they call it, that allows you to DIY smart contract connections to APIs. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Chainlink? I mean, this to me is nuts. And I'm looking at everybody and I'm like, wow, you guys are just like, just screwing your people hard. I mean, this was the price wick all the way. This was July 29th, so this was basically before the pump, or before the dump rather. And yeah, you basically, how many are there? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there basically been 16 sell triggers since the first, since, oh wait, that's June. Sorry. So June 29th. So yeah, I'd be real curious. Leave your comments below because I'd love to know what you guys think about this. But this is pretty bad. I mean, it wicked up as high as $5. Yeah, $5. Right now, it's sitting at a new sell trigger at $2.38. So basically, the price was ultimately cut in half over the past like 2 months because these guys are dumping. But I mean, there you go. That's Chainlink. I'll never touch them ever, ever, ever. Don't forget about Chainwise. There's going to be more and more stuff coming about Chainwise. We're 88 days out. I want to see the world at this convention, man. I really do. I want to see everybody here. Not only to learn about from a lot of cool people, but I want everybody to. I want to meet everybody, and I want to like. I don't know. I just think it'll be a really good time. So, I don't know that I needed the entire convention center for this, but we'll see. I mean, you know, I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, look, man, the last 30 days to the last 2 weeks is when everything is going to go absolutely bonkers for your convention. So it's just kind of playing that waiting game. You know, a lot of sponsors tend to kick up their heels and get going at, you know, the last couple of weeks. So, no money to go to Chainwise. Chainwise is $20. It's $20 and you can get a round trip ticket on a plane for like $100. So get a couple friends together, split a hotel room. You're good. You could go for cheap. It'll be cheaper to go to Chainwise than probably like the vast majority of conventions out there. So there's no excuses, no money to go to Chainwise. Come on. So let's see if there's anything worth talking about here. Actually, I'm going to go to chat real quick and see. I might just keep this video really short and not Jason, traders are selling alts for Bitcoin. Projects must keep some in USD to survive for growth. Yeah, project. I know that they need to do that. You don't need to dump $30 million worth of your token and crash your price in half in a matter of 2 months, especially when you already made $32 million not 2 years ago. What did you blow $32 million over 2 years that you need another $30 million at the expense of your investors? That to me is just bad business practice. So either way, you know, whatever. Finally, a convention I can afford to go to. Exactly the point. Come curious, leave an expert, and it's not going to break your bank. All these conventions out there charging $1,000 or hundreds and hundreds of dollars for tickets, and then they milk you for everything when you get there. Like, I just wanted to set up a pure convention. Like, I want to have crypto companies, you know, displaying, educating the user, educating the people that come. You know, we're not charging the crypto companies a boatload of cash either. I just want this to be a very busy beehive for a weekend where anyone in the world can come and learn and meet a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of really awesome influencers, and a lot of different people are going to be at this convention. And I just wanted to make it cheap. Look, this was never, even with my partner, like we never set up Chainwise because we expect to make a lot of money from it. It's not that kind of convention. We're literally doing it as we're trying to give back. We don't want to lose money. Otherwise I would just be like, it's free. But you know what? And this is the problem that I feel like that we're running into. Because the ticket prices aren't hundreds of dollars, and because we're not charging out the ass for booths, we're starting to kind of wonder if it's going to backfire on us. Because everybody, it's like that perception of value. Like, oh, if it's so cheap, it's probably going to be ghetto. Look, I just went to well, I didn't just go, but the last convention I went to was in Chicago, and it was crazy expensive. There was hardly anybody there. So it's like, and I was in Chicago. So, I mean, it was cool, and there were some booths and things, but it wasn't super active. And I just want this to be something. And like, look, all the speakers that I have, I mean, all of that's going to be turned into content for my channel and for television. So, I mean, worst case scenario is I either create a series of television that maybe I turn around and I sell to networks or something like that. And then we get that aired in a bunch of different, I don't know, there's so many different things, but, the cryptocurrency companies that do participate in Chainwise are going to realize the actual scope of things, even post-convention, because it's really going to be post-convention that I feel like I'm really going to be able to get some cool stuff done, but we'll see. I'm excited to go. Is Charles speaking? I'd love to meet him. As of right now, I think he is, and we also have, he said he was going to do everything he could to make it. And then Emergo reached out to me like a week or two ago, and they're like, hey, we know that Charles is speaking. We'd like to have a speaker there too. So I'm thinking that Charles has been talking to like Emergo and some of these other companies like, hey, I want to, I'm going to speak at Chainwise. So I think so, but he hasn't come out directly and said, I will in fact be there yet. But I'm pretty sure he's leaning towards coming. I know he was coming to the last date that we were holding it, and then we changed it. November 8th in Ohio, affordable, absolutely. Those of you that are familiar with me, you know how I am. This isn't a cash grab for me or anybody else. This is just a really cool, fun way of doing something that will help the public learn. Got to get the price right. Too low, ghetto, too high, nope. Find a balance, learning. Yeah, always learning. So make sure you guys, if you guys see a really cool article about a project or something like that, and you want to make sure that I see it, come over to Crow's News and you can add it. Stories, galleries, links, whatever you want. If there's a cool video, even I don't care if you're like, hey, I just saw this other YouTuber did a really awesome video about something. Go ahead and post it. You can do that right here. You can do a lot of different stuff. I want to see it. And then, promote it. Help me build up Crow's News, because there's some more stuff that I want to do with this site. And, right now it's just a lot of fun, and it's just a way that I can just look at my own news site. You know what I mean? I don't have to use somebody else's news site. And I'm not charging for banner ads or anything like that on here. So it's probably never going to be fluttered. I've got my Instagram. This is one of the models that I recently painted. I guess it doesn't let you blow it up, but that's one of my most recent models. I'm actually pretty proud of it. Some models I can paint really, really well, and some of them not so much. It just kind of depends. This is another one that I did. Actually, this wasn't even finished. It's finished now. Actually, it's right here. I'll show everybody. He's got green inside there. But yeah, this is part of the Infernals faction in War Machine. They're just nasty. I just love this game. I love it. If you're not playing War Machine, you're missing out, son. You're missing out. All right. Well, anyway, it's Monday, so go and enjoy your day. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. And hopefully it will be with announcement news for some cool stuff. So till next time, guys, crow your coins, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining me.